talking about.
And cut.
How's it feel to be back?
It's surreal, man. It really is. Yeah, it's like Karate Kid has had this long sustain in my life, you know, and kind of in culture, and it's just, you know, it's just been laid there, you know, and I've talked about it in this, but for it to now have this new life with Cobra Kai and to revisit these characters and these, you know, and bring in new characters in these situations, it's hard to get your head around. You know, I mean, he's rough around the edges. You know, on the page, some of the stuff that he says and does, I'm like, wow, man. Like, you sure, you know, people aren't gonna hate him? You know, like this is so. But it's really like, you know, I feel a connection to this character, and I feel like I know him pretty well. So you know, he's not out for sympathy. He's just out to make his way. You know, and there's something about that I think that people relate to. You know, a guy that's just trying to make his way. And he has a connection with this kid, who in a way is taking the spot of his own son that he really is craving, and you know, and there's a big hole in his heart. He's trying to connect with this son who wants nothing to do with him. So here comes a boy about his age who's responding to him and who's needing him, and Johnny's ripe to fill somebody up with what he's got, good or bad. So I think all those things, you know, make him endearing in a sense. Although, you know, you don't play to that. You just do the work, and it's been doing good.
And it's written articulately. You know, it's really written with everybody's gray, everybody's human. There isn't a white hat or a black hat, you know. And that's what I like about it. And that's what I like about, you know, when we get a season 3, to cultivate, you know, when I first got this part, I thought he was just another heavy. John Kreese is another heavy. I was doing Cagney Lacey at the time. I didn't know really what to make of it. It wasn't iconic at the time. But then slowly, you just realize how much the public loved this show and how much they loved the 3 reasons why it was so popular. They were either a bullied back in '84 when they saw it, or they had a romance that didn't work, that was monumental to them, or they were a fish out of water, that basically their father was in the military or whatever, and they had to move around. And it was a highly identifiable time for most of the public with those 3 issues. You know?
You mentioned father issues. Now, I always wanted to know, like, was there a sense of like a father-son dynamic between Johnny and Kreese, seeing that he had his own father issues? Kind of felt like you guys had like a father-son dynamic, kind of. Was that something?
Yeah, I mean, really, at the, you know, I didn't allude to that in the movies because it was never the time. But he was my best student. He was a son that I wish I had.
Yeah.
And over the years, my character, you know, he had a lot of time to think about, which you learn about in this new season. He had a lot of time to think about breaking the trophy and giving the headlock and making an exit so darkly, so insensitively. And that's not what the character's about now. There's a lot of that in there, but he's not all about the stoic, vengeful guy that we saw, you know, in Karate Kid 1 and 2 and 3. So there's only 2 things John Kreese thinks about. He thinks about the integrity of Cobra Kai and Johnny Lawrence as his son that he didn't have. And I can't give you too much information, but
It's all there.
when one gets in the way of the other, there's no time for sorrow. You know what I mean?
No mercy.
There's no mercy, right.
In The Karate Kid, the opening line that I had as an actor ever doing any movie was on the motorcycle at the top of the hill. And we pull up and Daniel's down there with Allie, and my guy say, "Hey, Johnny, you want a beer?" He goes, "No, I'm an ex-degenerate. I got 1 year to make it work, and that's what I'm going to do, make it work." All of it, right? His intention from the time you meet this guy is to make things work. And it's still not working. 35 years later, and he still can't make things work. And that's because of the complexity of what's in his life and who's in his life and what he's been taught and what he has to draw on. He's got a very small toolbox. He didn't have a parent. He didn't have a good dad. He had Sensei Kreese, who he loves and adores like a father, but he led him down the wrong road and tried to choke him out. You know, so he's a complex character, you know. You he grew up where he grew up. You know, he grew up in the rocks, and he's trying to reach the sun in a way. What's great about Johnny and the kids is that he's working his issues out in front of them. He's giving them things to do, and then going, I got to change this, I got to change that. And they're almost like these little experiments. He's lighting these little, setting these like little fires off, and then has to put them out a little bit. But now he's really, you know, he's looking inward. He's trying to make some changes if he can, but he's also at his core, you know, as he would say, badass, and he's not going to become a wussy. You know, he's still going to be tough, but he's going to just do it clean if he can. But there you got 3 levels of kids in that class now, 3 levels of generations. We got the generations of these kids. We got Johnny, who's old school, and Kreese, who's super old school. So 3 of those butt heads. I think Daniel's intentions are pure. I think he wants, he sees a need in this kid. I think he really wants to help him.
I don't know, man.
How nearsighted that is, I don't know.
I'm on Cobra Kai side, man. I don't know. Daniel's clearly the villain now, man.
Yeah.
I'm totally Cobra Kai, man.
Some people said Daniel's been the villain all along.
Well, I'll let you guys talk about all that.